Hello and welcome to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm very pleased to have with me today ASA. ASA, how's it going, buddy?
It's going amazing, and I'm really pleased to be here for a little chance to have a talk. We had a little catch up or a little introductory talk a couple of weeks ago on Go Live on Saturday, and we had a little chat behind the scenes. You invited me to come here ages and ages ago at a point in time where I just was not going anywhere and doing anything.
Sure.
But now I'm a little bit more open, and here we are. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And life happens, ups and downs, ins and outs, and whatever. I still have a few on my list, which you were on my list of ones that I wanted to get on. That are like for whatever reason it hasn't worked out. I've even had a few that you get the interview all set up and it's like 10 minutes beforehand, like, oh, I need to cancel, and it's like, and I'll say, well, okay, well, I'll check back with you in a couple of months, and a couple of months go by, I check back, and they're like, oh, we need to put that off. Give me another couple months. Okay. So, I'm not going to bug them. So kind of thing. But, some interviews you like to have, but you don't want to, you don't be too picky, too nosy, I don't want to be in your grill kind of thing. So I think for a little bit, actually, because I know Colt, I think Colt was kind of like, who is this guy? He won't leave me alone. Because we first started the interview, the first thing he asked was, is this going to be like a more Povich interview? It's like, have you done anything that we all need to know about?
There definitely are different personalities, and Colt's always been very supportive to us as well. So
yeah,
he's a good guy.
He is, most definitely. So Asa, let's get this started. That you are so is AC your name, or is that your gamer tag? Or, I don't want to get your whole name if I don't want to, make it. I'm just curious.
It is definitely both. It's my name, it's my real name, birth name, born and raised with that name, but it's quite a convenient one. It serves me well. So it is also my gamer tag.
Very cool. I don't know, it may seem silly, but it was kind of a question in my head. I was like, I was just curious.
My parents offered me more complicated names, and they went, no, let's go with one that's really easy to type, and it served me well.
It has. And I'll tell you, when you say the name Asa, you're the first person I think of. So there you go. Well, let's get into, like, I guess maybe what was like one of your first jobs that you've ever done, or education. It didn't have to be in the field, just kind of, everybody starts somewhere, right?
I suppose they do, but mine's all fairly disconnected from the field. So I fell through life in the way that a lot of people do, working through like IT jobs. So IT kind of help desk work through to, I got up to the point of being a solutions architect for a fair while, which is even less fun than it sounds, and slowly lost my mind until I decided, no, I need to see something that I'm actually interested in. So I stepped entirely out of that, and thus GameOnDaily was born.
Nice. So I guess in school or anything like that, did you take anything like, writing classes, or was that any kind of thing that, because I know that the website has a lot of stories and things that you guys, produce.
Yeah, so we're less into the production side of stories and writing side of things, because it is, so at least by vision, GameOnDaily is a news aggregation platform and a social media platform. So really, we're trying to push other people's work more so than our own, and everything that we're doing in terms of content production and the whole YouTube channel and all of it really is in support of that, so that we can push that side of it forwards. So like, no, I've got no good credentials for what I'm
doing. Won't say that at all. My goodness. Well, thanks for talking to us. No, I'm just kidding. And that's a wrap. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, goodness. So, all right, well, let's talk about gaming then, because at some point you got into gaming. So, I mean, was it a lot of people with consoles, arcades, PC? What struck you up at first to get you started?
It is a lifelong thing for me. So from very small child, when we got, it was an Atari ST that we had first of all, locked away in my parents' bedroom with very limited access. And I would touch everything on there, from like simple games like Black Lamp and Bomb Jack and things like this, like properly ancient games that I was too young to really get to grips with at the time. But just colors and movement and control was like, I love this. This is what I'm going to do. And then when I was a little older, a bit like still child, but able to go, out and about on my own a little bit. There was an adventure playground where you were supposed to run around outside and climb on things and jump around and hurt yourself. But they had a little hut, and at the back corner of that hut, they had a NES, so Nintendo Entertainment System, and they had a Mega Drive or a Genesis for American friends, just sitting in the back with a little crowd around it. And those were the ones that got their claws properly into me. I would go to this adventure playground and spend all of my time just waiting for my turn to play on either one of those consoles.
Nice. So I guess were you competitive, or was it more just for fun, or
It was more for fun. So they had some ancient, like I'm sure someone will be able to identify what it was, but some ancient Nintendo wrestling game that was played competitively. So I did the rounds on there. So not the arcade competition that you're usually getting in these stories where people were queuing up with Street Fighter and Tekken and all that stuff. No, this was a NES in the corner in a public space that had a silly wrestling game that I played quite a bit of. But I'd also quite happily sink a lot of time into Sonic 2 and Echo the Dolphin. As like obviously
love those
single player games that you, being in a public space, you don't actually get to go through from start to finish, but they have level selects, they have cheats, and you get to see things. You get to learn these 4268 supersonic cheat code from your peers, and
nice.
On you go.
Yeah, that's the way you do it right there. So I guess from there, as you grew up, I mean, what system did you end up? I assume you eventually got a system for yourself.
From there, yeah, the game that probably caught my attention nowadays was Sonic 2, and I saved all of my pennies for years and years and years and years and years, as long as I could, until I could eventually get a hold of a Mega Drive. I followed the Sega line of consoles. I had a neighbor who followed the Nintendo line of consoles, and we kind of mixed and matched and went between playing all of them a lot. So I had a Mega Drive, and I went all in and got Mega CD as well. Was just about, I'd been saving all of my money to get the 32X thing, and then the Saturn came out, so I kept on with that. Then Final Fantasy VII hit the PlayStation. I was in a different school, different crowd at this time, and that one was word of mouthing its way into my ears, and I had to get one of those. So I ended up with PlayStation, and this was when I became more broad in terms of what I could actually own. Obviously, like I said, I had friends with other consoles and always spent my time. A lot of people talk about this history of like playground warring over which console was best. And if you follow any of our content now, you know that I really don't engage with console wars now at all. That's always been true, but I never saw it as a kid. The schools and crowds that were anywhere near me were much more about sharing and excitement, I guess, rather than mine's better than yours and everything that I don't have sucks. So I don't know. I guess that's influenced me, like from young age to where I am now. I've always been about the excitement and about trying everything and enjoying everything. So as I got the means to get more things, I got more things. I think the first Nintendo one that I actually owned was probably the N64.
Nice.
Which I had very little content for. I had GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and that was about it. Fell in love with the Dreamcast. Dreamcast put me on the path to online gaming. So I played a lot of Quake 3 on the Dreamcast, and a lot of Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast.
Same here.
And those were like they're gateway drugs, and they took me into the PC space. I was like, oh, I want this, but bigger and better. So went from 4-player Quake 3 Arena on the Dreamcast over to the PC scene where you could mod it for days and play it forever, and full on MMORPGs and all the rest of it. And then, of course, the OG Xbox came out and carried the torch of the Dreamcast that I love so much in terms of like its general vibe and what it offered. So I had to get in on that, and everything ever since and forevermore, I hope.
Yeah. Gamer till you die, right? Yeah. Well, and it is cool that like you said, at times it was like you had one, your friend had one, and then this way, you kind of got the best of both worlds when you were able to, to do that.
When I wasn't in a position to own them, but I still, like, there was no hostility. Like, you got Mario Kart, I want to play Mario Kart, absolutely. Smash TV, I used to love that one.
Yeah.
I know you want to talk to me about what I'm doing, but what about you? What's your gaming history?
Oh, well, what was funny was that you talked about the PSO, Fantasy Star Online, and that actually is a game I still actually play to this day. We play Blue Burst on PC. Me and my son will still, and they've souped up private servers, and it's still the same game, but it's got all the the collection parts and all that kind of stuff together. And I say I play at least 2 or 3 times every month. We'll get on and play for a couple hours. Sometimes we'll get on a kick and 2 or 3 days in a row as far as old school goes. And people are like, "What is this?" And they see the graphics and you're like, "Ooh," it's like it's not about
That's
that. It's
awesome though, because
fun.
it's not even just the graphics. Like that game was running on 28K modems when they designed it, and everything about it is designed around the fact that you could send like one command very rarely. The whole combo system and the timing of it is all spaced out so deliberately. And I remember reading an interview from them. They said they had a real challenge with doors. They couldn't get doors in that game to work collaboratively, because different people would be sending these signals and they couldn't figure out how to time getting the door opened or closed, because by the time it's realized that someone's opened it, someone else has closed it. So the only way they could get around that problem was to make sure that the doors couldn't be closed in that game. Like there was only an open command. So no doors in Phantasy Star Online will close by player command, because it just got too laggy and caused too many problems. And this is the kind of thing, but it was genuinely good fun to play. Like the characters were cool. You could build it the way you wanted it. And yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, it's same. Awesome. Well, it sounds definitely we're on the same connection on that for sure. Because I mean, it, I don't know. It's like I said, I still play it. As crazy as that sounds, and it's so much fun. And of course, now like my son and me will play. He's at his house, and I'm here, and we'll get on Discord. And it's like he's in a room with me, playing. That's what's cool. That makes it a lot easier than trying to type when you had to in the old days. On the Dreamcast, and you're like,
those little faces everyone drew.
Yeah, go this way, or the translation thing that was like, so it would actually, you say something, these catchphrase or whatever, that would come across to that player in Japanese or whatever.
Yeah,
but still sometimes just didn't quite get the message across as what you needed to do. So, but yeah, that fun game. But yeah, that's kind of me right there as far as the old school stuff goes. My first system was an Atari. My dad took me to go get one the day they came out. So as crazy as that is, and I kind of knew what it was, but it wasn't really anything, and then getting on that, playing Combat, and then the game that really did it for me as far as Atari and stuff goes was the adventure game. And the quote unquote the first game that ever had an Easter egg, and once we found out that after we had it like a year or two, it was like, oh, we played the hell out of that just to keep doing the little Easter egg on all the different levels. Like, what are you doing? Nothing, just shut up and let me play. Yeah. So yeah, that was me right there. Loved doing that. So with you with gaming, obviously, you've gone, I guess, with gaming, how can I say this? You're more open to a lot of the different types of gaming, and the way I'm getting to that is that I know you're big into VR. So how did that go? What was your first experience with VR gaming, and then does it just catch you? Did you just got the bug, or is it?
Like VR as a concept, if you take away like what the devices are and what they're capable of as a concept, being able to go into a game and enjoy it is such an obvious like endpoint for gaming that I think everyone has seen at some point as a concept. Like that's what I want. My very first experience of VR is probably one to discount. It was actually at Sega World at the Trocadero in London, and this was a monotone like shooty arcade game, and I'm only saying that because otherwise I'd be lying, because that doesn't count and it was forgettable. I got a little plastic badge for shooting spaceships or something. But
nice.
First proper VR experience that I got, I'm relatively fortunate in that when VR, like commercial consumer VR, started to become a thing around 2016, 2017, whatever year it was, there were a lot of different devices available with different like experiences and capabilities. And that's like the mobile phone era, the cardboard and the things like that, things that just basically made people throw up. I managed to bypass all of those and I got straight into where it was good. So the Oculus Rift CV1 was my first proper VR headset. And I'm trying to think, the first game that I can remember playing on it was Robo Recall, which is a brilliant, brilliant game to this day. But that can't be the first game that I played on it, because Robo Recall came with the touch controllers, the hands in VR. And I had that headset before I had those controllers. So I definitely played games with an Xbox controller before that point. It's how Oculus launched.
Yeah.
I remember playing Defense Grid. Defense Grid is like a simple tower defense game. And an interesting lesson in the fact that pretty much everything can work in VR, whether you'd expect it or not. You think VR and you think, I'm going to be this person, I'm going to be in a race seat, I'm going to be shooting stuff, it's going to be my perspective. And then you play Defense Grid and you're putting down towers and just like looking around the map and peering underneath those towers, and you go, oh, actually, pretty much anything's going to work in this space. There's a game called Landfall that's like a twin stick shooter. I played a fair bunch as well, which was pretty good. But VR really took off for me once you have hands in the world. So Robo Recall blew my mind, and I played it again like a month ago. It's an incredible game.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I know Gaz sometimes seems to give you a little crap about playing.
Oh, a lot of people do. No, Gaz has to though. This is just part of the being an Xbox fan identity, because he leans very much into that identity. And like when I say that you must like everyone has seen conceptually that being in a game is a cool idea, and that was fine until it became part of the Xbox fan identity to just pretend that you hate it as a concept. Nobody hates the idea. There's problems with headsets and they may not be there for everybody yet and all the rest of it, but the idea is like such an obvious one. So Gaz has to lean into it a little bit. He loves it, really. He will one day.
There you go. Yeah, holding the front door open for him.
Oh,
right? Yeah. When I had surgery not too long ago on my eyes, but like 4 or 5 years ago, it was the thing that really held me back was glasses and trying to do VR. And it was like, it's kind of like going to the theater and watching 3D. And it was more cumbersome than it was enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely like, I'm always very quick to acknowledge that like sticking a headset on your face is a step too far for some people. And that's like, fair enough. I get that. But then at the same time, when you look at console gaming, when you play Xbox or even when you play Phantasy Star Online, holding a controller in your hands is a step too far for some people. Yeah, like there's levels to it, and there's reward from taking those steps if you want to. I'm not one of these people that's like, I like VR, therefore if you don't like it, you are wrong and silly and I hate you or anything like that. I'm like, different experiences for different people. The way that I play games, so I still very much play, I call them pancake games, like games on a flat screen. I still play pancake games. I still enjoy them very much. I play on the Xbox, I play on the PlayStation, I play on the PC. Nintendo's pushing it a little bit far. I won't quite play on that very much. But this is more so like, this is my way of engaging with games and my way of playing them. There are very few circumstances where I want to play a game on a small screen or on a portable device. So for me, I look at the Nintendo Switch, I look at some of the games, and I wish that they were well suited for playing on a TV or in a VR headset or anything like that. But they're not really, which means that they don't necessarily fit what I'm looking for. And I don't say like that person plays on Nintendo so they're wrong or they're not a gamer or they don't understand fun or anything like that. It's just different things that people like, and that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's to me the biggest and most exciting thing about gaming is that gaming is different things to different people, and there's there's even some people that are like, you play on your phone, you're not a gamer. That's bullshit. You can play anywhere, and if you're getting enjoyment out of it and it's you interacting on a game type system, whether it's phone, VR, tablet, whatever, you're gaming. And if you want to consider yourself a gamer, have at it, because it's so, from where we started, where you were talking about the early days and me back in the Atari days, when it was boop, 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 a little 8-bit kind of, wow, or Pong even. It's like, wow, that was, some of the kids today, they're just, what was it? One of my nephews was like, you feel like he was born with a tablet in his hand, because he'll like, he faster at that shit than I am. And he was like 6 at the time. I'm like, what the hell? So, but that's just that's just when he got into it. That was his introduction to it, and can you imagine, I mean, where we are right now? We're talking about the graphics and the 4K and or 8K and 120 frames, but can you imagine 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
Oh, I try to, I try to, and I see it for me. It's weird because you mentioned, since your kid and tablet, and it's like, it's like a shock realization when I see the way that children engage with games relative to the way that I do, because all of these things that seem so obvious to me, like these games with these amazing stories and these amazing graphics, these are kids are so lucky. They've got Game Pass. They can play like 400 different games.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they playing Roblox?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just it hits you like, wow. I can't get them off. Play some of the good games. You've got so many good things. Please play the good ones. Roblox.
My daughter was off yesterday, and it was like 4 or 5 hours. And I was like, what are you playing? Minecraft. Little friends of mine in school. 6 hours later, what are you playing now? Minecraft. I was like, okay. Didn't you do that yesterday? Yeah. All right then. So I know she pre-ordered Final Fantasy 16, so she's waiting for that. But yeah, it's you're right. It's like there's so much. Sometimes you just want to drag somebody kicking and screaming. Try this, you will love it. And there was a lot of people that like the I guess the From Software games, are considered by a lot of people as like well, this is just too hard. That's what I heard from my son. It's like yeah, you get out here and you die and you start all the way over. And I'm like, oh, that sounds horrible. So I never picked it up and played it. And then Elden Ring came out and it was like this is a little different, a little more. And it was like I loved it. And I've even gone back and played some of the older Bloodborne and other games like that. And it's like, wow, they're such great games, and I would never would give them a chance because I thought, I don't, I don't want to just keep dying. I'm not that great of a gamer. I enjoy gaming, but it doesn't mean I'm, super gamer or anything like that. I don't try.
Same. I had the same with the Souls games. It took me a while of skipping them because like it's really hard was not an appealing tagline for me. Like, okay, how about I play something that I'm just going to enjoy? And same thing happened. I played the Demon Souls remake before Elden Ring, and Demon Souls isn't hard. Like that's no, people lied. Demon Souls has its moments, but I played that and was like, oh, now I understand. Like I understand Souls combat more so, and the pacing and it's very very deliberate and very slow and methodical, and once you kind of get to grips with that, then all of those fall into place and become more fun. I say that I've not played Sekiro. That's obviously not so slow.
Same. I'm still holding off on that one.
Yeah, and it's a weird one because like it has this community around it that just insists that the best thing about it is the sense of accomplishment for doing something difficult, and that's for me not the best thing about it at all. It's like it's the world building design, like the use of color in Elden Ring. It's just like, wow, this is beautiful. Like. And I don't feel particularly like a sense of achievement for any boss that dies. I enjoy the world. So it turns out there's a lot more to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The Elden Ring, it just kept opening up more and more. It's like, well, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to try and get some stuff done. And then you're like, 5 hours later and you feel like you've accomplished so much. And you're like, well, I've opened this much of the map up. And it's like, oh, and there's like, oh, don't, wait till you get to the underworld. Underworld? What are you talking about? You're like, yeah, this whole part of the map, there's another whole level underground. It's like, holy shit, kind of thing. When once events happened in the game and it triggers that, and you're just like, oh my god, yeah, this, like you said, it's the challenge is fine, but the world itself, the mechanics in it, the all the from dragons to these crazy looking bosses, and to me that's I love it because there's so much gaming in that one game, the mechanics wise, I
Yeah.
just I love a game that you can just get in and have a lot of fun too. And maybe this is a wrong call out, but like when Halo came back out with with the grappling hook, and I was just like, but after I played it, I'm like, I don't really want to go back to the other Halos. If you don't have a grappling hook, screw that. I don't know why, but I just love it.
There's a lot that could be said about Halo, but the grappling hook is definitely one of its finer moments. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Spider-Man, kind of thing. So yeah. There's been some crazy level design that have gone on in that too, that are like, there's some levels that are like, you have to constantly do that because it's just little platforms. And that's the thing, because if you miss your shot, you fall and you're dead, and it's like, wow, what?
Yeah.
So creative people, I love it.
Hmm.
So, so from there, and I guess in gaming, how did you how did you start getting into the podcasting part? I mean, was it just watching YouTube and kind of thing? We'll get to how you
Hmm.
and Gaz met up eventually, but because I know you had to have had an interest in it before you met Gaz, right?
No, no. Order of events there is the other way around. So
Oh, okay. Let's
I
do that
was
then.
using the internet and following gaming very closely,
Hmm.
but more so rather than YouTube. Obviously, like everything is YouTube driven nowadays, or video driven and social media driven. But we were
Hmm.
following it more so when traditional like written articles were more prominent, and followed it very closely. But I guess I met Gaz at that period of time before podcasting was a thing that either of us had any awareness of whatsoever.
Wow, that's cool.
And that's when we started putting together plans for GameOnDaily as a platform. And funnily enough, when we went into this and put lots of money into this and started building this thing, Gaz is obviously very different to me in a lot of ways. He's very much an extrovert and very much likes attention, and very much always saw like a media presence or being a face for the company, as it were, and doing all of these things that he's doing now. And I was the opposite. I was like, no, I'm going to be a ghost in the background. Nobody needs to know my name or know that I exist. That's fine. I don't really want to be a person that anyone knows about. Like I'd spent at that point maybe 30 years of my life never being seen by a camera, because it's not me. I
Right.
avoid everything and all kinds of attention wherever possible. And then we started doing it, the YouTube channel. It's like as a necessary thing to support what we were trying to build, because the platform that we built doesn't make any money. We didn't build it to make any money from the get-go. We figured we'll deal with that later, and the YouTube channel was more supportive, and we started doing our show, and we did it without cameras initially, doing it like a lot of other podcasts, using Discord, having a chat, inviting some people, and just talking about games, because we both follow gaming really closely, and it's a genuine like passion and interest, so it's quite easy to do. And the more we did it, the more I did enjoy it, and the more I looked around at what other people were doing, the more I kind of recognized the value of seeing the people that were talking. And this isn't a dig at the people that don't do camera shows and things. There are certain people like around the community that have enough charisma and presence that they can do a good podcast without you ever seeing what they look like. That's not me though. So I'm like, yeah, you should probably be seen and let people get to know us a little bit and do all of these things, and started pushing it more in the direction that we've got now, where it is it's more of a visual show as well as something you can listen to. And it's just been a thing that's been more fun than I expected. So it's all followed on by accident from that point.
Oh, I tell you, like for me, I have a face for radio. Okay, so, but I mean, I for one am really glad that you decided to quote unquote come out of your shell, as it were, and get on camera, because I mean, you're a recognizable, face. Well, all right, here, you're let me click over on this, but like even your avatar,
Oh, we have a good designer, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's an awesome look to me, that that you came up with, and that's I don't know. I can't imagine not seeing you on camera now. I mean, obviously, there's times when you want, for whatever reason, but I for one am glad that you guys, you I guess you gave yourself enough of a chance and enough leeway to try it, because I think you guys do a great job.
I'm still the massive introvert that I always was, and I'm still a face for radio. And I would rather, like, part of me would still rather totally withdraw and not be seen anywhere or heard and all the rest of it. But
Right.
I don't know, it's still fun. So.
That's what's important, really, and but it's nice that you got over it enough that you can have fun with it. And I'd hate to
Mhm.
think that you, like, on camera now and be like, oh my god, anxiety and tension and sweating and, and like, it's just
It's all
over, it's
still
just
there. I'm
over.
constantly sweating.
Uh, Sure it's not the heat? Oh, goodness. So you live in the UK. So I guess
Hmm.
how did you and Gaz, meet? You meet online, or
Yeah, we were both on this dating site, and no, it's It's a weird one, actually. It was through a community section of a website. So we were talking and commenting on this site called N4G that is still going. That was a news aggregation platform, and we used to bump into each other in the comments on there. But Gaz was running GameOnDaily in its previous guise, where it was essentially a blog / like hobbyist gaming website covering news and things. And he approached me to see if I would like to write a review for him, because he had seen some conversations that we were having around certain games that he hadn't played that he wanted coverage for the website. So he's like, would you write a review for this? The game was Drive Club on the PlayStation 4. Gaz was frequently enjoying arguments because he was already an Xbox guy back then, so he was arguing with the PlayStation community about Drive Club versus Horizon and all the rest of it, and it was quite a hostile environment, that website. But he was like, this person is like talking about Drive Club and actually knows about it and seems reasonable and balanced, so I'm going to ask him to write a review. He asked me to write a review, and I did. And from there, carried on like that kind of relationship. Like he's a friend,
right?
And I was also like contributing stuff to the website that he was running at that point in time. And then he just decided at some point that he wanted a bit more out of the website. And he came to me and said, would you be interested in like pushing forwards like our own news aggregation platform, like this one that we met on, but with like blackjack and hookers or whatever? And I said, no, but I would be interested in building something much better, much bigger and much more ambitious. And this is like, you can't see it yet, but this is where the conversation went from there. We're like, yeah, we're going to do something bigger, better, more ambitious. We've got massive plans for it. And we went all in on it and put a load of money into it. And this was several years ago now. We've hit some massive roadblocks along the way. So we're not where we need to be with it, but this is how we got into this business together and started doing all of these things that we do.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, because when I talked to him, when I interviewed him, he had talked about the, at some point this could be a television show or a network or something just bigger than just YouTube, or maybe whatever YouTube grows into, or whatever platform takes it to the next level that you guys would like to move it there, and I think
got
that'd be great.
So much planned for it that I have to like be a little bit careful about what I can and can't say on it, because they're plans that haven't been realized yet. But it's not one thing that is and will always be true is it's not about making me and Gaz like famous celebrities or anything like that. Much as Gaz wants that as well, that's not what the platform is whatsoever.
Right.
It's a really good thing that I really hope we can realize.
Well, I hope you can too. I really do, because like I said, what you're doing now is absolutely amazing, and whether there's a little notoriety involved or not, I mean that to me, that helps you get to where your goal is, then it's worth it. If sometimes brands need a face, and people they can go back to and talk about it to bring the brand up. So that's pretty awesome. And like I said, I definitely don't want to pick your brain on what all your plans are. That wasn't my intention. It was, but it's a point that you guys work well together. You balance off each other pretty well. Like you said, yeah, he's pretty outgoing. And when I did an interview with him, I didn't even think about this, but I had this background on right here. And after the interview was over, he told me, he said, yeah, I just sit there and kept watching it go around and around. I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, it was okay. It kind of kept me focused.
Well, you've got a trick that I haven't. I'm going to borrow that one. You just wait. Let's go live. We're going to have something moving around just to keep Gaz's attention.
Squirrel. Oh goodness. Oh man. So Game On Daily is also, I mean, it's the aggregate channel, which is amazing, and everybody needs to have all the links and everything in the description below. And everybody, if you're not following, you definitely need to, because they have, if you're into gaming at all, you definitely need to follow, because it doesn't just cover one platform, one system. It's everything encompassing gaming, and that's what I really like about it. That you guys really put a lot into it. But then you guys do the Saturday show, which is I was surprised, blessed that you guys asked me to be on, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then when I got there, I didn't even know who I was going to be on with, and it was Colt Eastwood. I'm like, "Well, cool, he's carrying the show."
No, not at all. No, so like the platform that we're building, we always or like frequently say that the idea of it is like it's got all of this content that, like you say, all these different platforms and all this different coverage, but it isn't an aggregation platform. And the idea is that it's for building community and for helping people find their favorite content creators. And a lot of the plans that we have going forwards are all about trying to help like uplift content creators to help them find their own audience and build their own communities and things like that. So it just makes sense that Go Live is an extension of that, and that we have content creators come on and talk to us, right? Like yourself, like Cole, like everyone. So
yeah, and I greatly appreciate that. You know, my numbers went up after that interview. that was great. So, and you know, that was the point. And I appreciate you being on here, because this is what my show is. You know, is interviewing content creators, finding out more about them, not necessarily, you know, digging in deep or the behind this, you know, kind of thing. It's more or less of just, when I first started this, I was it was the pandemic, you know. All right, long time ago, I was a radio personality, and I also did was a program director for a rock radio station for 5 years. I loved it. Doesn't pay what you'd think it would, so I had to move on to something else. But then later on in life, I'm like, you know, kind of missed doing that. And the pandemic happened. We were all work from home, have a little bit of free time here and there. So I, you know, watching Boomstick, watching other, you know, content creators, Colt and Dealer and other people in the space, in GameOnDaily, and it was like, you know, I want to try and, you know, find out more about these people, because all different people would come on the shows, and I'd be like, you know, they make a comment about this, you know. Ran one of his shows was talking about one time when he was, you know, a time in his life when he was homeless and living out of a car. I'm like, what? But then, you know, he just went on. It was, you know, that was over with, you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, I want to know more about that. You know what I mean? And, you know, he's big fascination with books, kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I was, you know, it's just curiosity. And I thought that maybe there are other people that are be curious about, you know, the people they watch every day as well. So that's kind of where I put mine. And like I said, I'm really happy that you're on here today. So thank you so much for doing this and letting people you know, find out more about you. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sorry if they're disappointed, but it's you know, I'm very grateful to be here.
Not disappointing at all. Too funny. Too funny. So with that, you also have your own channel. So it's your own kind of outlet. So what do you have on your channel, and what do you hope, you know, is it just kind of I do all this for this, and this is like, this is all me, or, you know, how did that come about, and what is your intention with your channel?
Sure. These are difficult questions, because I'm formulating the answers as we go, because I don't know. I don't really know. So my channel, we've obviously got the GameOnDaily YouTube channel, and that we take very seriously. It's like it represents our brand in lots of ways, and I'm scared of it to a degree.
Right.
If I want to go and do things that I don't feel are good enough, I don't want to put them on that channel. There are, like, I would say I'm very much still finding my feet in terms of what kind of content. One, I enjoy doing them. Two, I'm actually good at doing, like, that will be entertaining for other people. So to a degree, my channel existed for me to be able to just experiment with different kinds of content and things like that may or may not hit as well as I want, or that it's not even necessarily that. It's more like when I do make a video for the GameOnDaily channel, it fills me with all kinds of feelings of dread because of that. I know it shouldn't. I understand, like, this is our channel, and this is just it's like a, I don't know, I guess an anxiety issue. I'm putting content on this channel with these people that come and watch us every week and are really supportive, and like generally great community that we've got there. Nonetheless, I feel dread before putting anything there. I can't escape that
thing. Like you think you might disappoint somebody, or you think you might be
opening up, won't be good enough for that channel. Like, and this is, like, Gaz puts content on there, and he's exceptionally good at producing videos. Like, it's just a talent that he's got. Enjoys it. He's very good at cinematic flair, and that's less me. So when I'm making these things, I've done Some of the videos that I've done, I think probably in hindsight were pretty good at the time, but even those ones before putting them up, I was like, ooh, don't like this. I've not done a good enough job here, and I don't need to feel that on my own channel. There's less responsibility, so if I'm just making things over there, it's a bit easier. On the side of that, though, much as Gaz is the scatterbrained one, I'm also quite scatterbrained, and I'm constantly chasing different things. So I'm like, I could make like this kind of content using my VR headset, or I could do that, or I could present that in like HDR, or I could like experiment, and it's just easy to do things, as well as the live streaming. So I live stream on YouTube. I did some live streaming on Twitch for a while, as in this is game live streaming, so just playing and talking to people. Yeah. One thing that I've kind of fell into by chance more than intention is I built up a nice little like mini community of people that visit me on my channel and talk to me most evenings when I want to play games and stuff. So I do my own show on a Thursday, which is it's called Q&A, and it's a conversational show where I sit on there with ridiculous backgrounds and music and things and just talk to these people that come and talk to me. And it's nice to build that community on the side. So now it's just it's a wave that I kind of ride, and it's fun.
That sounds awesome. Well, I'm actually going to have to check that out. I have not actually watched that particular part of your channel, and I'm going to now. And I will tell everybody that's watching this now that they need to click on the link below, and we'll have it in the description. And then make sure you subscribe to your channel, not just GameOnDaily, but your channel, and then hit the bell icon so they'll know every time you go live. So,
and I will tell them you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but if you do want to, so everything, like literally the Thursday show, we have a couple of little things going on. There's always I put far too much time and effort into it. There's always a different background from a game. There's a little mini game where you can try and identify like which game I'm sitting in this week and what game's OST is playing. And then we have a conversation. So it's very much talking to people who are talking in chat, and invite people to come and talk on Discord and things like that. So if you are looking for a relaxing Thursday show where you just come and interact, like talk to me if you want to talk to me and know more, if you want to ask these kind of questions or just talk about games and stuff, it's a nice place to do that. But if that doesn't appeal to you in the slightest, that's fine too.
Yeah. Well, I at least encourage everybody to give it a shot and give it a watch and check it out, because it may be what you need. And that's really all we can ask for in this space is for for at least somebody to give us a chance to see if you end up liking the content. So and that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I wish you all the luck in that too. It sounds like it's maybe a good avenue. Like you said, a little different than what else you're doing, and then who knows, maybe you'll just surpass Gaz, and no, I'm just kidding.
Nothing like that. It's funny, people, we do the Go Live on the Saturday, and quite often people observe that I don't talk very much on Go Live, but Go Live is like primarily it's about the guests. So Gaz is hosting and he talks a bunch, and we try and encourage and get conversation from the people that are on there to promote them and just enjoy that bit of time. But anyone that thinks that I don't talk enough should check that Thursday show, because I talk a lot. I have a lot to say about most things, really.
Yeah. Well, the show I do on Sundays is kind of like I have guests on, and if I feel like we go around and talk about a subject, and when it comes down to me, if I feel like everything has been talked about enough, then I'll just kind of move the conversation on along. Yeah. If I have points to make, I'll make a few little points and then still move it on along. And that's just, to me, that's the point of having a guest on. Is to get them to because people tune in because we can have nice guests and nice people, and I would love to have you on that show sometime. Maybe a little late for you, but maybe we'll work it out to where it's if you have a Monday off, a holiday on a Monday. So that might we might be able to work that out sometime. But that will be awesome. So I guess as we start to wrap things up a little bit, I always like to find out what, and you can answer more than one, because everybody does. And maybe I'll give everybody too much leeway by doing that. No, I'm just kidding. But what game or games are you most looking forward to coming out that aren't out yet, but have been, people know about?
So there's some really obvious big ones. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, oh, I'm going to be Starfield or something, yes, I'm looking forward to these big obvious ones. but also really looking forward to Hades 2.
Yeah.
Because I adored the first Hades like so much, and that's obviously it's a fairly well-known game. I'm sure a lot of people are nodding their heads looking forward to Hades as well, but that is so high on my list. I'm really looking forward to that. And obviously I'm a big VR nerd, so I'm going to say Firewall Ultra as well. So I've got to have a VR one in there. Firewall Ultra for the PSVR 2 to get me shooting some stuff. Those are the two.
So is it kind of like is it like a first-person shooter, but VR first-person?
Firewall is yes, first-person shooter, competitive, like Counter-Strike kind of format.
Oh, wow. Competitive in VR. That's pretty cool. Wow, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out. Do you have any content of you actually playing VR on your channel?
my VR setup. Have you never seen my VR setup? It's something else.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
When you talk about like I mentioned earlier, that for some people like holding a controller is probably too much. For some people, putting something on their face is too much. For me, nothing is too much. I have a VR treadmill.
Nice.
So I run around in Skyrim fighting dragons, and yes, there is quite a bit of that on my channel, and there will be more of that. I have a very over-the-top setup for playing VR and for streaming VR and doing all of that kind of stuff. Yes,
it's very cool. My son also has a treadmill. I'll have to see if it's anything like what yours is. Probably not as high tech, but when I saw him play it the first time, I was sitting there, Ready Player One is what came to mind. And I was like, holy crap, that's you're getting to that point.
There's not many of them on the market, so it may well be like same thing. But
oh, cool, very cool. But that's neat. Now let me last little bit on this part. Do you film like yourself outside playing, or is it all like do you get to see what you see, or is it a combination of both?
Okay, so yeah, capture's quite complicated in that sense. So the one where you can see people from outside and you can see what they're doing as if they're in the world, that's mixed reality capture, and there are some games that support it. Most of the things that I played don't. So what you normally see when I'm playing is, depending on the kind of game, my treadmill and me occupies the bottom corner of the screen. It's all like green screen behind it, so you can see the game behind it, but what's actually on screen is my perspective, but smoothed off as much as possible so that it's comfortable to watch, which is a massive challenge around virtual reality content creation. Because when you've got a VR headset on and you're moving around, the headset naturally like moves a bit more than your head does. And when you're inside that headset, that makes no difference to you whatsoever. Like if I look sharply to the left, my eyes might be fixated on like dragon, whatever I'm fighting, whatever else. And the world is stable, it's in the right place and it looks good to me. But the camera capture wobbles and rolls and is quite horrible. So there's a lot that goes into actually trying to capture and share virtual reality nicely, and I put a hell of a lot of effort into trying to do that. So hopefully it's a pleasant enough viewing experience.
Well, you got me wanting to check it out. I'm definitely going to be checking that out here later on this afternoon. I want to see some of these. That sounds very cool. That's awesome. ASA, dude, thank you so much for being here today, man. I think it's I know a lot more about you than I didn't know before, and I'm really glad for that. And if you don't mind, tell people where they can find you, even though it's going to be in the description below. Sometimes it's better to hear it as well.
See, now I have that same, it's not as acute, but I have that same feeling where I'm like, because this isn't live, so it's going to go up on the internet in a bit. So I've got that same little feeling of dread, like, oh, have I flopped terribly? But
you've actually done a great job. I'll just give you that.
You've been
a great
host. It's been very relaxed. It's been a very nice chat. So I have enjoyed it. Hopefully the people that are here watching it have found something interesting or entertaining from it. I hope so. You can find me. I'm on the Twitter as GameOn_ASA. I'm on YouTube as GameOnASA. Wait, I forgot my own name. Some of them have underscores and some of them have spaces. It very much depends on the platform and what it supports. It's always GameOnASA. It'll either be a space or an underscore. They're going to be in the description, so check the description if you want to find those. I use the same name on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, pretty much anywhere that I can. So yeah, add me there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, you've done a great job. You have nothing to fear, no anxieties to worry about. I like I said, I really did enjoy having you on today, and I really appreciate your time. It's the gaming world is what it is. It's it's so much
exciting,
encompassing, a lot
brilliant.
of Exactly. There's so many adjectives you could use on it, and I feel blessed to be here and awesome to do what I got to do, to be able to get to know great people that provide content like yourself. So, Asa, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it,
Thank you.
and thanks to everybody for watching us here at Outbreak Gamers.
Game over.